Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are on your journey right now, I want you to lean in, listen close, and hear me from your heart. Because what I'm about to say isn't just information. It's a wake-up call. Let me tell you something. You were not born to play small. No. You were born with greatness inside of you. You were born with something the world needs. But somewhere along the line, somebody told you to shrink. Somebody told you, tone it down. Somebody said, you're dreaming too big. And you believed them. But I came here today to remind you of the truth. You were not designed to tiptoe through life. You were not meant to just exist. You were not meant to dim your light just so others can feel comfortable in your presence. You know what playing small looks like? It's when you hide your ideas because you're afraid of being judged. It's when you tell yourself, maybe next year, when you know you should have started yesterday. It's when you settle for less than you deserve because you think asking for more makes you greedy. Let me ask you something. Who told you you're not good enough? Was it a teacher, a parent, a boss, or was it that voice in your own head that you've allowed to live rent-free for way too long? You've been watering weeds in the garden of your mind, telling yourself lies like, I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. Excuses dressed up as reasons, and they sound good. Oh, they sound convincing, but they're not the truth. The truth is, you've got more in you. You've got gifts you haven't even unwrapped yet. I want to share something personal. Years ago, I met a man who looked me in the eyes and said, you're more than what you've become. And it broke me. Not because he insulted me, but because he was right. I had been showing up like a whisper when I had the power to roar. And I'll never forget what he said next. You can't steal second base if you're too scared to leave first. That hit me. Because fear had me stuck. I was waiting for the right time, the perfect plan, the guaranteed result. But the truth is, the graveyard is full of people who waited too long. People who played it safe. People who died with their dreams still inside them. You've got to get out of the bleachers and get in the game. You've got to stop being a spectator in your own life. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs you. The real you, the bold you, the fearless you. Now let me warn you. The moment you decide to stop playing small, you will make some people uncomfortable. Your growth will challenge their comfort. Your light will expose their shadows. And that's okay. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to stand out. Don't let small minds convince you that your dreams are too big. Don't let their fears become your limitations. Your vision wasn't meant to be explained. It was meant to be lived. See, playing small doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve the world. There's nothing humble about shrinking yourself to fit in spaces you've outgrown. There's nothing noble about starving your soul so others can feast on your potential. You've got to make a decision. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Make a decision to step up, to speak up, to show up. I know some of you are thinking, but what if I fail? Let me flip that. What if you fly? What if you rise? What if everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of that leap you've been too afraid to take? Failure isn't the enemy. Comfort is. Playing small will keep you stuck in someday. And let me tell you something. Someday is not a day on the calendar. You've got to stop negotiating with your potential. Stop asking for permission to be powerful. Stop editing yourself to make others feel better. You don't owe the world silence. You owe it your voice, your vision, your victory. You were not placed on this earth to live a watered-down version of your destiny. So, this is your moment. This is your reminder. This is your permission slip to go all in. Get bold. Get radical. Get serious about your life. You've been through too much to settle now. You've survived too many storms to stay stuck. There's a fire in you, and I came here to pour gasoline on it. Let it burn. Let it ignite every room you walk into. Let your presence shake up the status quo. Let your dreams scare you a little and inspire the world a lot. Because when you stop playing small, you give others permission to rise. You become the proof that it's possible. You become a light in the dark. You become unforgettable. So I leave you with this. You are powerful. You are necessary. You are ready. And it's time to stop playing small and start playing full out. You were not born to play small. You were not created to tiptoe through life, apologizing for your greatness or asking for permission to be powerful. There is nothing ordinary about you. From the moment you took your first breath, you were wired with purpose. Your very existence is proof that something valuable was placed inside you. Something meant to be expressed, not suppressed. But somewhere along the way, society taught you to dim your light. Somewhere along the journey, the world convinced you that fitting in was safer than standing out. That being quiet was more acceptable than being bold. So you started shrinking. You started second-guessing your own voice. You started accepting average as normal and dreams as fantasy. You were told not to get your hopes up, not to dream too big, not to want too much. You were trained to settle. And you did, but deep down, you've always known that you were made for more. You feel it in the pit of your stomach when you see others doing what you know you were meant to do. You feel it in the silence of the night when your heart aches for something greater. You feel it when your soul stirs at the thought of possibility, only to be pulled back by fear. That fear, it's not the truth. It's a voice created by experience, by failure, by rejection, by disappointment. But it is not your identity. You are not the fear. You are not the doubt. You are not the mistakes you've made or the chances you didn't take. You are the vision that refuses to die inside you. You are the dream that keeps whispering, try again. The greatness within you doesn't care about your background. It doesn't need validation from your past. It doesn't rely on approval from your peers. It doesn't ask for permission. It demands action. It requires courage. It calls for boldness, because you were born to rise above the noise, rise above mediocrity, rise above the expectations placed on you by people who never saw your full potential. Playing small serves no one. It doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. When you play small, you betray your calling. You trade your power for safety. You allow comfort to become your cage. And while you're shrinking, playing it safe, keeping quiet, someone out there is suffering because you haven't stepped into your purpose. Someone needs your voice, your strength, your vision, but they'll never see it if you keep hiding. You were born to be a force, to disrupt the norm, to shatter limits, to stand tall in the truth of who you are. That truth doesn't apologize. That truth doesn't hesitate. That truth walks into rooms and changes the atmosphere. But it can only do that if you stop pretending to be less than what you are. You are more. You always have been. You just forgot. The world doesn't need another person playing it safe. The world needs people willing to risk failure for the sake of purpose. People willing to be people willing to be seen. You were not born to be a background character in your own life. You were born to lead, to love, to impact, to shine. And every moment you spend playing small is a moment wasted on a lie. Stop shrinking to fit spaces you've outgrown. You were not meant to stay small just because that's where people first met you. Growth is a natural part of life. Evolution is inevitable. But sometimes when we begin to grow, when we begin to stretch beyond the limits others have set for us, or that we once set for ourselves, we get uncomfortable. We look around and realize we no longer fit in the room we once called home, and instead of expanding, we start folding ourselves back into the version of us that others are comfortable with. You do not have to apologize for growing. You do not need to explain your transformation to those who have chosen to stay the same. There are people who are assigned to a former version of you, and they won't recognize who you're becoming. That's not your burden to carry. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to honor the call of growth, to answer the tug in your spirit that says, you don't belong here anymore. Sometimes the spaces we're in, jobs, relationships, routines, feel tight, not because we're failing, but because we've simply outgrown them. What once challenged you may now bore you. What once served you may now drain you. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've leveled up. It means you're evolving. And evolution demands movement. But growth is uncomfortable. It will cost you familiarity. It may cost you friendships. It might even cost you the identity you built when you were just trying to survive. But survival isn't the goal anymore. Thriving is. And you cannot thrive in a space that keeps you confined. You cannot flourish while constantly trying to fit into expectations that were never designed for your highest self. You may have started in that room, that role, that relationship, but that doesn't mean you have to stay. Staying small to make others feel secure is not loyalty. It's self-abandonment. It's shrinking your spirit to match someone else's comfort zone. But your life is not a performance for someone else's applause. Your journey is not about staying palatable to people who never believed in your greatness to begin with. You have to get comfortable being misunderstood. When you stop shrinking, you will be seen differently. People will call you arrogant, too ambitious, too much. Let them. You were never meant to be just enough for people who never dreamed as big as you do. Their discomfort is not your problem. Their limitations are not your responsibility. Your only job is to expand, to grow, to stretch into the fullness of who you are. There will be moments when you want to go back to being liked, to being accepted, to being safe. Don't. There is nothing behind you that compares to what's in front of you. Shrinking may feel safe, but it slowly suffocates your soul. It dims your light. It silences your voice. And eventually, it convinces you that this half-light is all you'll ever have. You owe it to yourself to step into every room with your full presence. No more hiding. No more pretending. No more settling. You are not too big. You've just spent too long trying to fit into spaces that were never meant to contain your greatness. Growth is your birthright. Expansion is your destiny. Don't deny it just to keep peace with people who are terrified of their own potential. Your past is a lesson, not a life sentence. Too often, we carry our past like a chain instead of a chapter. We replay our mistakes in our minds like a broken record, convincing ourselves that who we were is who we'll always be. But the truth is, your past was never meant to define you. It was meant to teach you, grow you, and prepare you for something greater. The shame, the regret, the wrong turns, the failures, they were part of the curriculum, not the conclusion. Everybody has a past. Some of it is messy, some of it is painful, and some of it you don't even talk about. But none of it has the power to determine your future unless you let it. You are not your worst decision. You are not the person who gave up once. You are not the broken version of yourself from 5 years ago. You've learned, you've grown, and you are still here. That counts for something. That counts for everything. People will try to remind you of who you were. They'll try to keep you in the box of your history. But you don't owe anyone the version of you that was still figuring things out. Growth isn't just allowed, it's expected. If you're not evolving, you're not living. And evolution means leaving behind the version of yourself that couldn't see what you now see. The version that didn't yet have the strength, the clarity, or the experience to do better. Your past may have bruised you, but it did not bury you. If you're breathing, that means there's more ahead than there is behind. That means you've still got something worth building. The lesson isn't in the pain. It's in what the pain taught you. Did it teach you how to be resilient? Did it teach you how to value yourself more? Did it teach you what you will no longer tolerate, what you truly need, and what you're capable of surviving? That's the gift. That's the goal. You are allowed to be proud of how far you've come, even if you're not where you want to be yet. You are allowed to forgive yourself for what you didn't know, for what you mishandled, for what you lost. You were growing in a garden you didn't plant, trying to bloom in soil that didn't nourish you. You did what you could with what you had, and now you get to choose differently. Let go of the narrative that says you're stuck. You are not stuck. You are transforming. You are not damaged. You're developing. There is wisdom now in your voice. There is strength in your stride. There is power in your presence. And none of that could have been born without the fire you walked through. That fire didn't burn you down. It forged you. You carry the ashes of who you were, but you rise with the wings of who you're becoming. The people who want to judge you by your past are stuck in theirs, but you don't have to stay there. You get to rewrite the story. You get to tell a new chapter. You get to build a life that makes peace with where you've been without being held hostage by it. Because your identity is not your history. Your identity is what you decide today. Your future is wide open. Not because your past was perfect, but because your purpose is still alive. The world needs your full, unapologetic self. Not the watered down version, not the version that fits neatly into expectations, not the version that hides behind fear or filters its truth to avoid judgment. The world is starving for realness, for authenticity, for people bold enough to show up exactly as they are. Flaws, brilliance, wounds, wisdom, and all. You weren't made to be a copy of someone else. You weren't born to be a quiet echo. You were created to be a voice, a presence, a force that shakes things up just by being fully alive. Too many people go through life wearing masks. They pretend, they shrink, they compromise their identity just to be accepted. But acceptance that requires you to betray yourself is not acceptance at all. That's performance. That's survival. And you weren't born to survive. You were born to shine, to lead, to move through life with a fire in your spirit and truth in your bones. Because somewhere out there, someone is waiting to see someone like you show up boldly. Someone is waiting to know it's okay to be themselves too. But they won't believe it until they see you do it first. You're not doing the world any favors by hiding your light, your story, your truth. These are the very things that will unlock doors for someone else. But they can't be reached through perfection. They can only be reached through honesty, through courage, through the willingness to be seen in full color, not grayscale. Your flaws don't disqualify you, they humanize you. Your pain doesn't make you weak, it gives your voice weight. And your difference isn't something to be ashamed of. It's the very thing that makes you unforgettable. When you show up fully, you give others permission to do the same. You create space for truth, for healing, for progress. But you can't do that if you're still filtering everything through fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being too much, fear of being misunderstood. Let them misunderstand you. Let them question you. You're not here to be explained. You're here to be expressed. And those who are meant for you, those who are meant to walk with you, grow with you, build with you, they will recognize your voice without you needing to tone it down. There is power in your presence. There is healing in your truth. But it only works when it's real, when it's raw, when it's bold. So don't let the noise of the world drown out the voice inside you that knows exactly who you are. You don't need a title to lead. You don't need permission to be powerful. You just need to blend in. You were made to stand out, to rise, to challenge, to inspire. That won't always be comfortable. It won't always be safe, but it will always be necessary. The world doesn't change because of people who play it safe. It changes because of people who are willing to be seen, willing to be heard, willing to be real in a world that keeps asking them to be less. Every time you choose truth over silence, every time you choose truth over silence, every time you choose purpose over fear, you shift something. You open a path that wasn't there before. You don't have to explain why you are the way you are. You don't have to justify your dreams, your energy, your fire. You were wired with intention. There's nothing accidental about your passions, your vision, your uniqueness. So let the world see it. Let them hear it. Speak louder. Stand taller. Take the risk of being known exactly as you are, not who the world thinks you should be.